Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Table Talk podcast. I'm Dr. Alicia.
I'm Tiana Von Johnson.
And if it matters in love, life, and relationships,
we're talking about it.
Okay, on today's episode, we are going to talk about why accountability is very difficult when it comes to relationships. Let's unpack this.
Yes, let's unpack it. Hold on. Let's get this definition out. Let's
get the definition. Oh, beautiful.
Accountability is the willingness to take ownership of your actions, patterns, and impact without excuses, deflection, or blame. At its core, accountability answers one question: how am I responsible for what I choose even when I was hurt?
A lot of people are unable to take accountability when it comes to their interpersonal relationships. I find that a lot in my office. So I'm talking to couples, and it could be the husband who is explaining about the actions of his wife and the effect that it has on him. And instantly, I can see one of the losing strategies in relationships is the need to be defensive. So instead of tuning into whatever your partner is feeling as a cause of your behavior, we have this tendency to want to defend ourselves, to want to deflect, to want to say, well, if you were offended by what I did, there's something wrong with you. And they want to put the blame on another person instead of taking a deep breath, listening to what they did, what they said, and the impact it has on another person, because they come from a place of shame where they feel as if I take responsibility for my part in my partner being sad, then there must be something wrong with me. Maybe I'm not a worthy husband, or maybe I'm not a worthy wife. So the accountability piece is more than just this situation and saying I'm sorry for what happened and for what my part in what happened. The accountability becomes very difficult when it gets translated into I'm bad.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I feel like the lack of accountability, healthy people are accountable. A healthy person will say, I said that to you. I didn't mean it. I am so sorry. I didn't know that came off like that. You know what? You were right in that moment when you said that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing that makes that you should feel less than a man or less than a woman if you are accountable for your actions. And sometimes accountability looks like, I didn't know I did it. I didn't intend to do it, but I'm still sorry. My fault.
And the key piece of that is when I have individuals who are unable to be accountable for their behavior, I don't want to label them as a narcissist, although that is an indicator of narcissism. That's one indicator, but that doesn't mean if you struggle with accountability, you are narcissistic. Let's just get that piece there. But I have a conversation and I say, who was accountable to you? Who in your life apologized to you? Because sometimes we grow up in these households where they think children are to be seen and not heard. And if something happens that hurts the feeling of a child, then they're never accountable to that. So they start telling stories of how they were growing up and how somebody didn't go to their game like they were supposed to and never circled back to apologize. They start talking about how people in their life, adults in their life, never showed up for them, never gave them the accountability. So fast forward in a relationship, if you haven't received that and you don't have it, how can you give it to another person? So we get into making that connection. Okay, when you were a child and your parent or somebody that you trusted wasn't accountable to you, how did that make you feel as a child? Okay, if it made you feel that way, why do you think it's okay to now inflict that feeling onto another person?
And why do you think, when I look at cycles, I see women revisiting the same arguments a lot?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? I mean, I think that they are not getting the answers
such a good point.
that they need. And so even though the conversation may have ended because maybe it got too long or, you know, we tabled it for another day, they're still not satisfied with the answer.
Yeah,
What's your perspective?
I really do think in healthy relationships, you try to be patient with your partner. If they're not ready to move on from a situation and you are, that's a lesson of patience.
That's good.
That's saying, you know what? Maybe I said I'm sorry too quickly. Maybe there's more going on in this situation that I haven't quite heard. Because if a wife, for instance, keep bringing up something that hurt them over and over again, that's a signal to her partner that we moved too quick to an apology without further exploring the impact of their behavior on them. And so having empathy helps with accountability, because you have to connect with that experience of that person without feeling like you are a bad person.
But I also think that speaks to emotional maturity, because having an emotionally mature partner is someone who will sit down and want to unpack it with you. Because what happens is men will see their woman going to their friends or these other people because they just they're not finished talking about it. I just have more to say.
Yeah.
So now we're unpacking it with women who perhaps they're not in our marriage, they're not in our lives, they may not understand it from the standpoint that we're speaking of it, but we're getting advice from them because you don't want to sit down and take the time to unpack it with us. But then there are some men who they have a low tolerance for all that conversation.
Yeah, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy for that. This doesn't make sense. Or they start devaluing their partner because their partner is sensitive in this moment. It's okay to be sensitive. It's okay to be who and what you are. Just be more accepting of that and be able to understand, oh, I know when I talk to her about this particular topic, I need to be able to soften it up a little bit because she's going through something, or this is a issue with her. You know, it's okay. Yeah. You're not supposed to go into a relationship being perfect.
Yeah.
The perfection piece, just throw that out. And if you embrace the fact that we're all flawed individuals who make mistakes, accountability would be much better incorporated into the relationship. And that is what a healthy relationship has to have. That empathy piece, that accountability, the ability to forgive each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just came across this. It says accountability versus blame.
Yeah.
Blame looks outward. Accountability looks inward.
Yes.
Blame keeps people stuck. Accountability creates movement. What do you say to that?
And you have to let go of this ego.
Ooh.
This ego tells you, I'm right, you're wrong.
Ooh.
Ego tells you, I'm going to reject you and you reject me, and it's all this animosity. Yeah. Ego is, you know what I equate ego to? The movie The Wizard of Oz. You know how the wizard was standing behind this big face that came down, I'm the Wizard of Oz. That's ego.
Yeah.
And behind, who was the wizard? The wizard behind the face?
Yeah.
He was scared. He was insecure. He was doing what he felt like he needed to do to mask some of his insecurities. And that's how ego can't help a relationship. It can't help you show up authentically in your relationship. Yeah. Oh my gosh, everybody. I hope you're able to take away some real key pieces about what accountability looks like. It is not about perfection. It's about being able to connect with another person, to listen to them, show empathy for your part in what happened, and really being able to say you're sorry with patience. So today's episode was brought to you by Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Go to Coaching with Dr. Alicia, and and we're going to kick it to Char for
Say What You Want, Char. Say what you want. All right, that was deep. You know, we holding accountability, being accountable is deep. So just remember, if it matters in love, life, and relationships,
we are talking about it.
That's right.